In this video, I'll show you how to do a histogram in Minitab. I have data here that I've tediously typed in, well, I've copy and pasted actually most of the data, of the Buffalo and Rochester snowfall data. So let me give you an example of how you might want to do a histogram. I'm going to be looking at column C14, just the Buffalo total for each year. And this is the data from 1940 all the way up to 2013. So to create a histogram, Minitab is quite efficient at doing this. Microsoft Excel, if you don't have a template, is very difficult to make a histogram. So I would highly recommend using Minitab or even StatCato. So to do this, I would go to Graph, and I would go to Histogram. I just want a simple one, and I want to graph C14. So I'm going to double click on C14. And pretty much I'm going to let this take care of all the number of bars and so forth. So I'm going to click OK. And here would be a nice histogram of the Buffalo total snowfalls over the years. And you can see that Buffalo rarely has winters with 40 in this area, with snowfalls less than that. If you want, you can change the bottom down here so they're not they're not midpoints. We can do the cut points. And so if I edit the X scale, all I did was right click on it. I can change the position of these. Let's see, binning. I don't want midpoint, I prefer cut point. So I'm going to say OK. And here you can see then that it's actually doing it by those amounts. Now I might want to actually have less bars. So let's see what I can do for that. If I right click on the data and say edit bars, I can do binning again, and it's saying cut point, and it's saying automatic for the number of intervals, and it was actually making everything by 10, which was looked pretty nice. But maybe I only want, I don't know, 10 intervals. Let's see how that looks. And if I do 10 intervals, that may look a little bit better in terms of showing mound-shaped data. But you can play around with whatever looks nice. We shouldn't really have more than 20 bars. And 10's a good amount. So that's how I would do the Buffalo data. Now if I wanted to compare two histograms, for example, let's say I want to do Buffalo and Rochester, I might want to plot them so that they have the same axes, so I can actually compare their total amounts and their same Y values. So let me pause the video for a second while I get that ready. Alright, so if I want to compare Buffalo and Rochester, I would like to see if this distribution of snowfall is the same in both. So to do this, I really want to go to histogram. I'm still going to do simple. And Rochester totals are in another column. So I want C14, which I already have for Buffalo totals. And then I can do the Rochester totals. But if I'm doing multiple graphs, I really would like them, I'm going to say on separate graphs, but I would really like to have the same Y and the same X, including the same bins. That way everything looks the same. I don't have more bars in one, or the graph isn't cut off, or so forth. So let me show you what this would look like. So I'd have two graphs, and if I put them side by side, you can see that Rochester has a few more winters with snowfalls in this 80 midpoint range. Again, I can change them to have the same cut points. I could do cut points. So if I say edit bars, and binning options, I'd rather do cut points. I click OK. Again, it's giving me more bars. Not that I necessarily want that many bars, but I could do cut points if I want to see those numbers. But I'm going to undo those changes. Click over here and go back to this. And you can also see that even though Rochester doesn't have any data above about 170 inches of snow, even though there is no data here, it leaves the chart going out to 200 because Buffalo had a winter there. So you can see that although Buffalo has this outlier for this one winter in 1976-77, Rochester does not. And then to copy and paste these things over into like a Microsoft Word document, you can right click and do copy graph. And if you do copy graph, it'll copy this and you can paste into Microsoft Word. So I hope that helps with constructing histograms.